Okay, people. So we have a new film coming to cinemas. It is The Secret Kingdom. Now, there are a few films with this title. So it's the 2023 version if you are perusing on Google, people. It is written and directed by Matt Drummond. The film is produced by Matt and probably his wife, Megan Drummond. Right, Joseph Morris edits the piece. Casting was by Marianne Jade, and Graham Mitchell also helped out with production. Our cast, we have got the drummers, right? The mother is Vivian, the father is David. Then we have Peter and his sister Verity. Um, oh, yes. Okay, so the dad, David Drama, is played by Christopher Gabardi. Vivian is played by Alice Parkinson. Peter is played by Sam Everingham. And Verity is played by Alyla Browne. Yeah, I forgot that. There's Pling, who is voiced by Darius Williams. The Shroud, who is voiced by Gabrielle Chan. Ego, voiced by Beth Champion. And Ergo, voiced by Rowland Holmes. Okay, so the gist of the film is Peter and his family, still reeling from a tragic event, uproot and settle in a small remote town. Upon their arrival, Peter's sister Verity um, beckons him to explore the village, where they discover an old shop, some peculiar locals, and a mysterious artifact. That night, Peter is awakened by an unsettling sound. The floor of his room starts to crack, and he and Verity go plunging down into the secret kingdom below, where they are captured by a horde of pangolins and whisked off to an audience with their leader, Elwyn. When Elwyn discovers that Peter has the artifact in his possession, he declares Peter to be the foretold ruler of the below. Peter and Verity are instructed that they must find the 4 remaining artifacts and use them to fix the great clock of the citadel and reset time in order to stop the ancient evil that has enveloped the kingdom. But as Peter and Verity travel further into the below with their pangolin guide Pling, Peter discovers that not everything is as it seems. Dom, dom, dom. So, yeah, there you go, people. There you go. Now, this is a kids' film. You know what I mean? It is what is it? It's rated PG. So, I will say off the bat, your kids will probably enjoy it. Right? If your kids enjoyed stuff like let's think Inkheart, right? The School of Good and Evil, um, like Dark Crystal, you know what I mean? That kind of fare, right? If that's their jam, Lion Witch in a Wardrobe, especially the BBC series, right? If they've enjoyed those, what's that one with Lara, Philip Pullman, the Golden Compass, Golden Golden Compass, and Subtle Knife, they ring a bell, right? If that's something that your kids enjoy, then I think this will work for them, right? That whole magical worlds, the mystery, just all of that kind of jam. I think you can take your kids. It's not offensive. It's not too dark. Like Labyrinth is awesome. A little bit dark in places, but awesome though. So yeah, I think if your kids enjoyed that kind of thing, then the Secret Kingdom will most likely work for them. Adults, you're gonna have to bear with it. I'm afraid it might not work for you. So we open up with basically the legend, the lore, right? We have this kind of moving sketch, and it's explaining a narrator, a voiceover is telling us about these two worlds, the world above and the world below, and how it was ruled, and then something happened, and blah 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 blah. So we get all of that history, which is like, and not a bad way of filling in those gaps. I will say they use gold text, right? Gold text on a yellow background. Not smart, right? It doesn't make it real clear. It's not that visible. It's just, I roll my eyes sometimes with these things. I'm just like, really? You're telling me someone looked at this and was just like, yeah, this works. This is a good idea. It's insane. It's insane. But we get this, and then we're in a car, and the family are traveling to this new house. I think it's like the dad was saying it was his granddad's or something like that. It's a family home. They are moving to, renovating, and all of that jazz. Right, and so we just see Peter and his sister exploring, and then we get into this whole thing. It's like it follows the beats of this kind of story, right? It follows them, and it's trying to, I think it's trying to do a thing, but I think a lot of those classic stories, Lion, Witch, and Wardrobe, Lord of the Rings, just all of these things work because you have a connection to the characters, right? Because you believe in these characters, right? You believe that Peter, Edwin, I forget the girls' names. Gosh, Lucy, I can't remember the other one, but we believe in them, right? When they go to this world, we understand their different personalities and traits and all of that. Which is when, Edwin sides, you'll be like, oh man, I knew that little motherfucker couldn't be trusted, right? This, we don't get that, right? We don't get that same connection to anyone, It's like we see that Peter, there's something troubling Peter throughout. Some cracks. He's scared of cracks, but we have no clue why. It's never addressed. The only thing addressed, they're using this whole mechanism of, oh, if I can get there in 3 seconds, everything will be fine. Never gets there in 3 seconds. Who knows why 3 seconds is the time limit? It's never answered. Like, there's only one reference to Mum's like, oh, did you make it? Did you make it in 3 seconds? That's it. And I'm just like, look, it doesn't have to be this big explanation, but something, right? To let people relate. You know what I mean? Like, because it could just be like a little explanation, and then little kids would be like, oh, I'm scared of the monster under the bed too. Oh, that worries me. And you just create that connective tissue, right? Because we just don't have it. We don't have it, right? It's most of this film is clearly green screen, which, look, it's a fantasy film. We're not believing that, that all of these things are actually real and on set, but it's just glaring that it is green screen. So you're just seeing these performances that sometimes, I mean, a lot of the time, are difficult. And I will say, listen, acting to nothing, right? That's a difficult thing. Trying to pretend that, oh, I'm scared of a monster and the monster's not there. It's a difficult thing. A lot of times they'll have someone in a green costume pretending to be, right? Sometimes they don't. I don't know how this production chose to do it, but it's just like trying to get those emotions. We don't often It doesn't often hit the mark for an adult. Now, for a little kid, it's probably fine, right? They're not looking at it in the same way. But an adult doesn't really work. Doesn't really work. And listen, yeah, adults struggle at it. So kids, you know what I mean? Trying to get kids not to overact. And like there's a lot of whining from some of the characters, like, I told you I wasn't. Oh no, right? And it does feel very over the top. Doesn't often work, right? There's things that are said that you're just like, that makes no sense, right? There's this big reveal at the end, which again doesn't really make any sense because of the interactions that happen. So it is a bit odd. It's definitely pulling on all these old classic tales. We have Peter struggling with this thing, but then all of a sudden he's able to do it, which again, oftentimes, right? It's the journey, but we don't see that journey, right? There's never, oh, that's how he can conquer the. No, we don't see it. So it's just like, what is happening here? But again, a little kid isn't always always, they're never looking at that stuff, right? It's just the magic. That's what they're enjoying. So they're not looking at the nuance of. So that's why I think it will probably work for a little kid. For an adult, no, it's not going to work. So you're going to have to grin and bear it while your kid watches, or do the smart thing and blackmail a relative or pay a babysitter to take them and watch it. And you can sit in a cafe and read, listen to a podcast, listen to some music, just enjoy life, people. That's what you should do. But yeah, let the little, munchkins go watch the film because they'll probably dig it, right? The Secret Kingdom is out on the 21st of July in all your local cinemas. So, people, there you go. Something to distract the kids with.